Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is officially Ring of Fire fight week with Tyson Fury taking on Oleksandr Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight title. And today I'm going to be reviewing the main fight and some of the undercard fights, which include Opetaia against Briedis 2 and Cordina against Anthony Cacace for the super featherweight world title. So let's get straight into it. And there's only one place to start, of course, the undisputed heavyweight title. Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk, 50-50 fight. No one knows what's going to happen, and that's all part of the fun of this fight week. So let's get straight into it with my thoughts and predictions of how this fight is going to play out. So for me, it's extremely close. I don't see how anyone can say anything else apart from it. It's going to be extremely close, and it's a 50-50. Yeah, the way I see it play out, some people might think it's going to be one of the best fights of all time. It certainly can be, but for me, I think it's going to be a tactical chess match knowing these two. Usyk, the master tactician, one of the best boxers on the planet, deservedly arguably in the top 3 pound for pound. And Tyson Fury, one of the most slick, loose and best boxers for someone his size in the heavyweight division, and proven that as why he's holding the heavyweight world title as well as Usyk is. And but yeah, so let's get straight into it in detail. So we'll start off with Usyk. Obviously, won the world titles at heavyweight against AJ after previously being undisputed in the weight division below at cruiserweight. Usyk's probably the best cruiserweight of all time, potentially. Comes up to heavyweight and beats AJ not once but twice in fairly dominant fashion, depending on how you think AJ came into those fights. Yeah, won the world titles, then defended them, and then it was last year now, I think, had that fight against Daniel Dubois in Poland, which, if you watched it, know there was some controversy around the fight, obviously around a low blow that Daniel Dubois landed, which many thought was a legal body shot, and maybe Usyk would have been counted out because he was on the floor for so long. However, for me, it was below the belt line. The ref would have told Dubois where they can and cannot hit, and he called it a low blow, which was fair enough. And Usyk, being the smart champion he is, took as long as he needed. Obviously, heavyweights, those lower shots are going to really hurt, so he just took as much time as he needed. Obviously, most definitely milked it a bit, which may have led to more of the controversy about people saying that Daniel Dubois should have won, but he did what he had to do, and then obviously came back, and Daniel Dubois just didn't have enough in him to come back after that. Obviously demoralised, and then Usyk did what Usyk did, and then came on strong and just won. He's got a thing where he just makes you work hard, and then you get into the later rounds of the fight, and you've worked so hard to try and stay ahead of him, but he's staying at this real high level, and you've been staying at this high level thinking you're ahead, and then you can't maintain it as long as he can, and you drop below, and that's when he starts to take over and gets a win like he did against Dubois. So yeah, I think Usyk's coming in this strong. Some strong last performances at heavyweight, and yeah, I think for him, he's going to come in. He has power, but I don't think he's one to come in swinging, especially in a fight of this magnitude. I think he's going to come in, do what he does, and try and outbox Fury, make him work at a high pace, and see if he's got enough in the engine room to stay with him for the 12 rounds. And yeah, and for Tyson Fury, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, if you've been following the fight week and build up, you've seen the pictures of Tyson Fury and how maybe the best shape he's been in for years and years. Yeah, looks ripped, which obviously a drastic change from what you saw against Francis Ngannou when he came in clearly overweight, and I guess he took what happened in that fight seriously, as he should have done, and actually put the work in for a fight of this magnitude, which is good to see. Don't want to see a fat overweight Fury coming in again. But yeah, for the shape he's coming in, is he going to try and come in and outbox Usyk? Like I said, I feel it's going to be a chess match. They're going to both be circling, see if he can lead the jab, see if he can get those little combinations going early, and yeah, I don't see at any point either one of them just buying down a gum shield and swinging away. So I think it's going to be a exciting tactical battle to watch. But yeah, so Fury's coming in shape, but for me, the one thing about Tyson Fury which makes me favour Usyk a bit more in this fight is, realistically, Tyson Fury hasn't had a competitive fight in over 2.5 years. If you look at it, last fight, Ngannou, he should have lost, got lucky on the scorecards, should have lost to a MMA guy on his debut, which frankly it's an embarrassing performance. He came in overweight and was just embarrassed by Ngannou in that fight, which maybe gave him the shake-up he needed to get into shape for this fight and go for a hard camp, which is needed. But then before that, a third fight with Derek Chisora, no one needed to see. That was an easy night's work for him. He probably didn't need to train for that. And same with Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte was his mandatory, but has Dillian Whyte ever been at that top level of the heavyweight division? Probably not. So, and then you have to look, the last fight was the final fight of the Deontay Wilder trilogy, where entered one of the best trilogies ever. It was a great fight, and yeah, obviously won by a knockout in that against Wilder, but he himself got put down by Wilder in that fight. But 2.5 years since a competitive fight, and then it's the big one, the biggest fight you've ever had, and probably ever will have, potentially, with obviously AJ being rumoured in the future. Yeah, it's been a long time since he's had a good fight. Has he still got it? He hasn't had to show that he's got it. The heart still there. Obviously, he did get up from Ngannou, and I can't even say he came on strong in that fight, but obviously got the decision, but very lucky. But is it still there? It's been a long time, so now he's got to come out and prove it, and prove he still has it and wants it. But for me, that's exactly why I'm going to go with Usyk on decision. For me, I think he's proven it at top level more often all throughout cruiserweight. Usyk has. And he's come in through heavyweight, the AJ fights, the Dubois fights. He just looks. He doesn't even look. You have to admit he is one of the best boxers of this generation. Usyk, for what he's done at cruiserweight, and he's gone up and won a world title at heavyweight and now fighting for undisputed, the first heavyweight undisputed fight in 25 years. And I think he gets it. I don't think it's by much. I could see a split decision favouring Usyk, or by 1 or 2 rounds, which will then be controversial to many, I guess, because scorecards could be all over the place if it's a tactical battle like I'm predicting it will be, and then we'll see the rematch happen straight away. But yeah, for me, Usyk just by points to beat Tyson Fury in the Ring of Fire undisputed heavyweight fight. And the co-main of this event is for the cruiserweight IBF cruiserweight world title, which is actually vacant, but we'll get into that in a second. Opetaia against Marius Briedis, number 2. So, here's the thing. Opetaia is the Ring magazine holder, was the IBF world title holder, but he had to vacate it, so because I think it was because he fought Zorro on the last Saudi card. So Briedis was meant to fight, who is it? Can't remember, but Briedis was meant to fight for it because he was mandatory. So they stripped Opetaia of it for some reason. Then the purse bids for the Briedis fight didn't occur, and so now Briedis is fighting Opetaia for the belt that was Opetaia but got taken away from him, but he never lost and Briedis never fought for. So we're here with a vacant world title. But it's Opetaia's, let's be honest. He never lost it in the ring. No one else has fought for it again, so they should have just given it back. But governing bodies, eh? But yeah, so it's a rematch from their fight almost 2 years ago now, 1.5, 2 years ago, from 2022, and yeah, I think this will be first fight was a banger. This fight, I think, will be a banger again. But let's start with, he's the challenger. Marius Briedis was the world title holder going into the last Opetaia fight, and Opetaia obviously took the victory on points and became world champion. But yeah, close fight. Briedis, I think he broke his nose in like the 4th round through an uppercut from Opetaia. But also in the fight, it was a proper war. Opetaia, I believe, broke his jaw in like, might have been 1 or 2 places. and he came through and won. Just shows how much of a dog Opetaia is. And yeah, for me, Opetaia, I think he comes through this fight again. The reason being is I think he's the best cruiserweight in the world at the moment. It's proven by the Ring Magazine bout he holds. Since the fight, Briedis hasn't fought since the last fight. This is his first time back after almost 1.5 years out, in a tough loss he's taken. He's 39 now. That's a long time out for someone of that age. And since that fight, Opetaia has had 2 fights. Jordan Thompson, which was a 4th round knockout, lower opposition but did the job brutally. And again, Oleksandr, lower opposition, knocked him out in the 1st round brutally. But his activity, his training camps he's been going through the motions, and now he's coming into this with more eyes on him now. I think people have realised how good he actually is, and he's coming into this fight probably as the heavy favourite now, and for me, deservedly. And I think this time he gets it done by knockout. I think the aging Briedis inactivity, I think it's just going to be the game changer, where Briedis has been through a lot of wars, a lot of fights, and Opetaia just looks destructive as ever. And I think Opetaia gets him knockout second half of the fight for me again. And I think it'll be another like showreel knockout for me. I think it'll be a one and done, like his last one in Oleksandr, and I think it'll virality again, and Opetaia will become an even bigger star than he already is and will be, especially on the undercard of Fury and Usyk. And yeah, Opetaia then should go for unify some belts and maybe get his own undisputed card in Saudi Arabia, because they seem to love him over there and I love him here. So yeah. And then another fight on the card, we have another world title fight. We have the IBF super featherweight title on the line. Joe Cordina is defending it against Anthony Cacace. This fight, I think, will be an interesting fight for me. Joe Cordina, I think, is the best super featherweight. He's definitely his best super featherweight in Britain, which is why I am favouring him in this fight. But I think he could be the best super featherweight in the world, and I think he comes through this fight. I think it'll be close early on, but I think Cordina's experience and talent will show through at the end, and I think it'll be a fairly wide decision victory for Cordina, and he can put a show on for the whole world watching, really, and get some eyes on him and prove how good he really is, and then lead him into maybe unifications. There's been talk about how he's doing at the weight, so maybe he has to do that sooner rather than later, or maybe he moves up to lightweight where there's some huge fights for him. Maybe get some of the big American lightweights over to Britain for some big world title fights, but that's all for the future, really. And one more fight I'm going to mention is a heavyweight world title eliminator between Ajit Caballo and Frank Sanchez. This was added since the card was delayed due to the cut to Fury. This is added to this card this time around, and great heavyweight fight. Obviously, Turki Al-Sheikh loves his heavyweight, so he's got to get another heavyweight fight on his card. And we have Caballo obviously coming off on one of the last Saudi cards. I don't know if you call it an upset, but a surprise victory. Obviously, never really fought outside Germany. He was a European champion last time. Came in against Makhmudov, who's a big, scary Russian heavyweight. Obviously, destroying lots of people in America. Was on one of the first Saudi cards. Looked dominating. You thought this is Makhmudov just pushing through, getting some bigger names, not bigger names, but giving Makhmudov a chance to knock other people out, big heavyweights. But no, Caballo came through and finished Makhmudov. Was it a body shot? I think he knocked him down a few times, but it might have been a body shot that finished in the end and surprised lots of people. Caballo came through and now in a world title eliminator, and he's got the opportunity to do it again, especially against the name of Frank Sanchez. Obviously, big Cuban heavyweight, big in America, fights out of America, and a lot of the American cards most of the time. Was also on that card, fought Junior Farr, won by a TKO, which was expected in that fight. And yeah, it's a big fight for both of them, big night for both people. We'll get them in the mix for potentially lobbying for either Fury and Usyk. maybe if the IBF do actually strip the belt away to make the mandatory fight of Hrgovic Dubois, it just puts their name up there with the AJs, the Joe Parkers, the Dubois, Hrgovic's, your Zhangs and Wilders and Furies and Usyks, and it makes you a big player in the heavyweight division if you do win this fight. And for me, honestly, it's very tough to pick. However, for me, there's just something about the last fights where Kabyle, he surprised everyone. Well, not everyone, some people picked him, but it was a big surprise, and to do that when no one expected against a bigger name and arguably a harder fight than Frank Sanchez had in the last card against Junior Farr and finished him quicker, I think Kabyle might just be on form, or is just someone that never really fought outside Germany, so never really knew what level he actually was, and it turns out he's at the top level. And yeah, I'd go with Kabyle to pip Frank Sanchez to it. Maybe a finish again by the bodywork he was doing to Makhmudov in the last fight. But yeah, very interesting fight indeed. And yeah, there's obviously a couple more fights in the undercard. Not much to talk about on those. So yeah, that is my predictions for what is going to occur on the Ring of Fire card in Saudi Arabia. Undisputed heavyweight world title. Oleksandr Usyk, Tyson Fury. I cannot wait. Let's get me to Saturday right now. Oh, hopefully it's going to be one of the best nights of boxing ever, and I cannot wait. And I hope you cannot wait to watch it as much as I can, because it's going to be a brilliant night of fights. And thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.